the critical nature of delivering the endowment fund lectures.
In 2006, the title was Quality Assurance in Public Examinations, and it was presented by Professor Ivan Adrian-Mensah. In 2007, the title was The Teacher in Leadership, and the presenter was Professor I.E. Wada. In 2008, we had a presentation. The title was Enhanced Agricultural Education, an Inevitable Necessity for Our Survival. Again, this presentation was by our own friend and colleague, Dr. S. Tilway Johnson.
The Vice-Chancellor of the University of the Gambia, Professor Muhammadu Kar, delivered a 2-hour lecture emphasizing the need to rethink teaching, learning and examining to enhance quality and suit the changes of this technological age.
Education must be a priority. I remembered watching the former President of the United Kingdom, Tony Blair, when he was assuming office, and was asked what his priority was. And his retort was education, education, education. So therefore, not just because he said it, but it's the facts. Education must indeed be a priority. We need to develop and implement cost-effective and cost-saving strategies that improve learning outcomes and graduation rates for millions of Africans. In effect, education represents the path to an educated and skilled citizenry with higher earning power and the creation and sharing of knowledge and innovation in our continuing efforts to fight poverty.
The power of the human mind is credited for all of humanity's achievements, with its potential put into proper context by education. Education is seen as the key to the realization of Africa's aspirations of sustainable economic growth and prosperity, and its ability as a people to compete in an increasingly knowledge-based global economy. Professor Carr, in his address, spoke at length on the pressing need to incorporate technological advancement into conventional teaching systems, which, according to him, wouldn't succeed.
The essential human element and relationships, negotiations, collaborations, and partnerships required in education and through the mechanisms of the pathways and channels of learning, teaching, and examining must not be replaced completely by digital technologies. Rather, my point here, rather, facilitated, enhanced, and enabled such that that teacher's role is augmented drastically from a traditional top-down, authoritarian, and the posture of being the only conveyor and custodian of content and or knowledge in the subject or domain in the learning space.
WIEC's 18th Endowment Fund lecture is anticipated to be the stepping stone in the drive to radically change teaching methods in this digital age and harness technology for improved quality enhancement for the 21st century classroom. For GRTS News, I am Aja Amisise. Well, that high-level meeting was on Tuesday officially opened by the Minister of Presidential Affairs, Dr. Njogo Elba, who doubles as the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service on behalf of President Jammeh. The annual event is an opportunity for the highest governing council of WIEC to review activities and operations of the 5 national offices. Prizes were also awarded to overall best students and distinguished friends of council. Well, that story will come in our 10 o'clock newscast. Meanwhile, the Royal Victoria Teaching Hospital in Banjul has been renamed Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital with immediate effect. A news release from the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and National Assembly Matters states that henceforth all correspondence to the teaching hospital should bear the name Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital and not Royal Victoria Teaching Hospital. The Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, or EFSTH, the release adds, will maintain its status as the main referral hospital, and the priority of the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and National Assembly Matters is to ensure that quality healthcare is not compromised. The Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and National Assembly Matters, the dispatch adds, reaffirms its commitment to the provision of quality, affordable and accessible healthcare services to the general public. The Ministry of Health and Social Welfare and National Assembly Matters is therefore urging the general public to adopt and use the name Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital. The dispatch ends. A 5-day regional synergy organized by the West African Institute for Financial and Economic Management, WIFEM, is underway in Banjul. Workshop participants are looking at the development of bond markets with special focus on issuance and pricing strategy. Fatou Jassi has the rest of that story.
Selected members of the West African Institute for Financial and Economic Management are again in Banjul for another capacity building forum on a relevant subject matter, developing bond markets.
A bond is a long-term debt instrument issued by either a government at the central level or at the subnational level, or by a private firm to raise capital. As I said, this long-term capital for funding infrastructure and some other financing needs.
But as the world continues to grapple with one economic crisis to another, building the capacity and technical know-how of financial gurus in financial development and management is key to economic growth. That is one of the reasons for this course.
There is a growing recognition all over the world that financial matters there's growing recognition all over the world that financial development matters for economic growth. The financial system contributes to economic development by enabling firms, government, and households to manage risks, avoid having sharply compressed their spending in bad times, and invest in high-return projects that might otherwise remain beyond reach.
The bond market is a key element that can reinforce and influence positively on economic growth.
A well-developed bond market with both government and corporate segment can enhance the efficiency with which financial systems help to allocate resources within the economy and buttress financial macroeconomic stability.
At this infant stage of establishing bond markets in WIFEM member countries, Basiru Njai of the Central Bank of the Gambia buttressed on its importance and how it impacts on the participants.
Development of bond markets is important for several reasons. First, bond markets are central to the development of an efficient economic system as they help make financial markets more complete by generating market interest rates that reflect the opportunity cost of funds at a wide range of maturities. This is essential for efficient investment and financing decisions. The absence of such markets constrains investment opportunities.
Even though bond markets help to finance budget deficits in a non-inflationary manner, enhancing the effectiveness of monetary policy, expanding such markets come with challenges.
With ample liquidity in the banking system, it is true that banks and financial institutions in ECOWAS countries have increased their appetite for bonds in recent years. Institutional investors other than banks, such as pension funds, have also played a more active role as the amount of funds under management continues to grow. However, retail investors' participation is still low, while in some markets, restrictions on cross-border investments have discouraged foreign investors.
The training, which ends on the 22nd of March, will be facilitated by a competent and experienced faculty led by Professor Miji Ahmedou, Director of Portfolio Management Department. Upon the completion of the course, the participants will be joining the over 12,000 officials that WIFEM has trained in its 17 years of existence. For GRTS News, I am Fatou Jassi.
Well, we're going to take a very short break now. When we come back, the news continues.